we are welcoming Emma to Endo Untangled, where we are rogue on the road doing our...
Fast and curious.
Need to remember to give you the microphone. So we've just been talking to Michelle, who is the manager of Pep Talk, about the program itself. But what you do is you're one of the educators who goes out to meet with students to talk about pelvic pain. So what's your background, Emma?
Yeah, so my training is as a physio, and I've done more moons worth of work in pelvic health than I care to admit. And I also work on a statewide pelvic pain clinic alongside gynecologists, clinical psychologists, pain specialists.
If I was a young person, what would you like me to know about pain?
Very big question. I think the main message is that pain that stops you doing things you want to do, you feel like you have to do, or things that you simply love to do is not normal.
Different types of pain, isn't there? It's not just if I step on a rusty nail, it sends a message from my foot to my brain that says ouch.
Yeah, sure.
That is a type of pain. We call that nociceptive pain.
That's right.
What are the other types of pain and how do you explain those?
Yeah, okay. So in sessions in school, we break things down as coming maybe from pain from pelvic organs. So you've got your uterus, but also the other organs in the pelvis. So, you know, pain itself is complex, but pelvic pain I think is especially complex. The uterus plus or minus endo lesions, the bladder and the bowel, and we know that because those organs share nerve pathways, that they talk to each other. So they can really wind each other up and wind each other down. So the organs, you know, is often where pain starts for a young person. But looking broadly, not only, you know, it's really important we manage visceral pain, right? So
tell us what you mean by that. What do you mean by visceral pain?
Pain that is maybe coming from the organs. So the uterus squeezing and contracting at period time. But we know that looking after bladder and bowel health is going to be really a big part of someone's broader picture of managing their pelvic health and pain more generally. And then we talk about pain that might be coming from muscles, and in particular pelvic floor muscles and these deep hip muscles called obturator internus. And I guess what we hear people telling us is that is often their worst pain. That is the pain that maybe doesn't last very long but is really, really strong and will often send people to emergency departments in the middle of the night because it feels scary. Although it's not dangerous, it can feel really scary, that pain. And then pain from the nervous system itself, so which is always involved, right? So the nervous system being the nerves, the spinal cord and the brain. And we know 100% of the time, if you are a human being, that system is involved. So it doesn't really matter whether I've stubbed my toe or broken my bone or...
Yeah, sometimes I think about pain can be a signal of damage, but it isn't always.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so pain can be highly protective, can't it? You know, like you use stepping on a nail and sometimes putting your hand on a hot plate, and pain makes us take our hand away. It makes us maybe pay attention to it. It gives us memories about what happens when we do that, so maybe we're less likely to do it again. It makes us, encourages us to rest that area for a period of time so that we can get healing starting to happen. We might tell other people about how we burnt our hand and they might learn from that as well. But we know that when people have ongoing pain that's not managed effectively, we get physical changes in the nervous system, which is like pressing that plus button on your volume or having a house alarm that should go off when someone breaks in, going off when a butterfly goes across the door or something like that. That's when we think that the link between what's going on in those tissues, like my skin or my uterus, and how pain is being processed, that link has been lost. That pain is not so useful, right? It's not protective anymore.
Not so useful, but still 100% real. And that alarm's going off despite what set it off, if it's a burglar or if it's a butterfly.
Alecia, that's such a good point. It just means that maybe the problem isn't in the tissues anymore, but that pain is absolutely real.
The problem's still the problem.
Luckily, hopefully, the hopeful message in this is that there is lots that you can do about that. Lots of really helpful strategies that people can implement for pain that becomes more complex.
Sometimes Cherie and I, when we run education sessions, we talk about the possibility of either dialing up or dialing down your pain, depending on what's going on, not just about what's happening in the tissue, in an endometriosis lesion, for example, but it can be how that's received by the immune system and the nervous system and other systems. Do you have ways of thinking about ways that might dial up or dial down pain?
So we have there's a biopsychosocial approach, which means
it's my jam. I love it. I love it when someone else says it. And I'm just like, yes.
So I think we need to be paying attention to all of those things and working out for each person that sits before us which parts of that biological, social and psychological, how they interact and which bits that we can integrate. Young people are really, really good at understanding this. They know that our minds and our bodies and how we move through the world are connected. And I think that they're really open to understanding that, of course, if you've got pain, you're going to have thoughts and feelings about it. And
perhaps they don't need to be told, like sometimes the rest of us do, that there isn't a magic line starting somewhere at the neck where there's something happening above and something below, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah.
Are there any other real take-home messages or really important concepts that you like to make sure you share with the students when you see them?
Well, I think there's lots of big messages. We know that prolonged, complicated or ongoing pain or even cyclical pain might only last for a couple of days, but if that puts you on the sofa, unable to get to school, unable to do your part-time job, unable to go to the party on Saturday night that you want to go to, unable to play the sport that you want to, then that's not normal either. We want to really be helping people manage that better, and that you can be central to your own care. You are the most important person.
And that's what I was just thinking, is that there is more than one answer and lots of tools that you can draw on, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's about looking at the whole picture and acknowledging who you are and where you're at and being able to be informed to be able to make these choices.
I guess the other thing is movement. I probably can't get away from today without talking a little bit about, we understand when you are in pain, when you're tired, when you feel miserable, you probably don't feel like moving very much. But the one thing we know better than most is that human bodies are not meant to be still, and that
made to move, I like to say.
Yeah, and that curling up in a ball, although it might make sense at the time, long term actually makes pain worse.
And I'd love to get your thoughts on this. One of the things that I talk about is that curling up in a ball is always available to you. It's not that you need to take that away, but could you explore another position, another alternative?
Yeah.
But that's always there if you need it.
Absolutely. I'm not saying you need to be on the move all the time, but curling up in bed for 3 days.
Concept,
beautiful. And I like to talk about a balanced movement diet, right? I know that blueberries are good for me, but I'm not just going to eat blueberries. Just to get curious about how you feel before you move, how you feel when you're moving, and how you feel after that. And try different things and do stuff that is fun that you will do.
One of the other concepts that Cherie and some of the other exercise physiologists that we work with talk about, since we're talking about a movement diet, what might some movement snacks look like as well? I mean, it's a sort of a lower, there's less that you need to invest into a snack. And so you might be, if you know that you're just going to do something for a couple of minutes that might help you feel better, what might that look like and how might you be able to integrate that into your life? Like, that's something that we like to talk about as well. So,
Yeah, so the Pelvic Pain Foundation has a free downloadable resource of stretches. So some people with pelvic pain will tend to get tight or uncomfortable in certain muscles. I think tummy breathing is just gold as well, and we'll often do that in sessions. When we are in pain, we tend to breathe up into our upper chest and hold our tummy really tense and rigid. And there's lots of things that breathing down into your belly does for you. So it can release discomfort through the muscles in your belly, or your tummy, that can become involved. And our pelvic floor muscles and our diaphragm like to move together. So when we breathe down into our belly, we're allowing some gentle movement and relaxation, which is really nourishing to those pelvic floor muscles, which are really often involved. And thirdly, relaxed breathing is really soothing to our central nervous system. So it's
like a biohack to dial down the nervous system, which can often dial down pain.
And you don't need special equipment, you don't need scented candles, you don't need chanting monks on a hillside, you just need your own breath. Absolutely.
So I will definitely put a link to the Pelvic Pain Foundation's lovely handout PDF on stretches, but Cherie will be too humble to mention that she has a series of absolutely beautiful short videos where you take people through some diaphragmatic breathing, relaxation and some static, and also some poses or some flows.
Positions
that can help when you're in pain, and also that you can do as a snack as well. And that's at our Thrive Endo Clinic website /videos, and they're freely available as well. Did you want to comment on how... Cherie says no. Do you want to comment without worrying too much about it being you on the video, because I know that you find that uncomfortable? Why, though, that might be helpful to actually do that if you're someone who is suffering with pain?
I think it just follows on from what Emma was saying, is how we hold our body in a protective way and that muscle tension. I really wanted to do the videos to give people a resource, because sometimes we need to see as well that we learn differently. So being able to hear what the instructions are and then being able to see it, being able to pause it, I think is really important. And I talk a lot about ultimate comfort as well, like, because when you're in pain, it's your normal. And if we can get in positions that can, again, help that nervous system, just dial down a little bit, then you don't even realise that you can even be more comfortable.
Yes.
So I like to just talk about, you're comfortable, but could you be more comfortable? And how could you be more comfortable? And can we try different ways of moving and breathing? Like you were saying, I love this idea about, your diet, like your movement diet. Can we try some, we're not going to go straight from blueberries to a fruit salad, but, can we try some strawberries maybe as well? And having different options in different positions so that we've got that availability.
And I guess different options at different times.
Absolutely.
So it's not always going to feel right, is it? But,
yes. Yeah. And so let's not dismiss that, because it didn't work on that day. Yeah. But, maybe I'll give that a go. It worked last week, but it's not working this week. But then that doesn't mean it's not going to work again in the future.
Or doing a little bit less.
Yeah.
And like going for a walk. And there's something about rotation, so swinging your arms and getting some movement, and circulation, like improving the blood supply to not just muscles but nerves as well.
It's getting confidence back in your body as well.
And start where you're at.
Start where you're at.
Make something an achievable goal that you're going to be able to do.
And I think it's important having resources such as what you guys have created for people to be able to access.
Emma, I think we could chat to you all day, but we will let you get back into the rest of the conference. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your gentle approach to such an important topic. Thank you so much, Emma.